Hello, good morning, and thank you so much all for coming. I just want to really thank BPNI for leading this and for inviting PHRN to collaborate. It's the second time that we've done this on the WBTI. And to also just say, reiterate that, we sitting here are all people who've been working consistently on IOICF in our own ways. And it is that concerted effort that so many people here are representing that really, brings about whatever change happens and also the challenges that we face in changes not happening. And we have used so many different approaches, so many different tools. WBTI is another such tool, a helpful one we consider. And so we'd be happy to share its findings with you briefly so that we can add to our armamentarium and continue the struggle on behalf of children, because essentially we're here because we care for children and we want children to lead a better, more healthy life as per and enjoy all the rights really that children can and must have in this world. So I'm going to be really quite brief because many of you were party to the exercise and some of you have heard the results before. And also the results are fairly intuitive. I mean, I think that all of us sitting here, we really know what the situation is because of our grassroots work and our other work. And this reiterates, so it confirms more or less what we know. So WBTI India round 4, this is 2015 based on secondary data, results, trends, analysis, and something of the way forward, which really I think will come much more from the eminent group of panelists that we have today. So overall, we know that this is the trend that there's a mild increase from 74 to 78 in this period of time, 3 years, and other data is also showing this kind of a slow kind of a trend, which some could consider stagnation and some would say is improvement depending on where you're placed. But this overall trend, it hides many things. It's not a neat increase. That's, I think, the point that we need to understand. So this next graph, which is now score-wise from 1 to 15, tells you that some things went up and some things went down. It's not as though consistently we went up 2 or 3 points in all indicators, which is a bit sad, because generally speaking, if we understand that all these things are meaningful to IOICF, you would expect that everything should be going up at least a little better, and we would have hoped much faster and much better, but we are also seeing things come down. So what you're seeing is again the average, undisaggregated average of a slow and steady improvement, but it doesn't hold for all indicators, and I think that's critical to understand, and so we look at it in greater detail. You can see, how something is, indicator by indicator, let me take it, how it's gone up, gone down, stayed the same. So we won some, and we won some mildly, we won some, a few quite sharply, and we lost some as well. Indicator 1, which is really for us it's the overarching indicator, which is what is happening in national policy program and coordination. Now I say it's overarching, why? Because nothing here is new in terms of understanding, acknowledgement. There's no dearth of consensus on any of these issues, but yet it's not happening. So there is something to do with political will, there's something to do with national policy, and there's something to do with actually forcing it and making it happen. Now, here we seem to have gone down. If the overarch has gone down, then that's something of great concern. If you think that we've gone down from an earlier score of 3 to a score of 1.5, and when you look at it in detail, how the way the scoring goes, this happens basically because the National Breastfeeding Committee, which was in its early days, I think there was a single meeting, has become defunct. We do have news recently that probably there's some efforts to revitalize that, but yet again a meeting that could have just preceded this, and then I would have said, wow, it's happened, a meeting has happened, got cancelled. So again it has got cancelled, and children's priority gets kind of set aside for other priorities. So this National Breastfeeding Committee has become defunct. We do know and we note that many new policies have come in the country which make a mention of infant and young child feeding, and those have been listed in another indicator which I'll share with you later. But at the same time, the simple step of converting a national set of guidelines on IOICF, on which there was a lot of participatory work and there was consensus, has not been converted into a policy per se. And we need a policy because it's stable. It's much more stable than a set of guidelines. We've had this discussion before. Does it really matter? It does matter when governments change, when priorities change. It does matter to have policy. A policy can be discussed in parliament, so on and so forth. And it would be a simple step to convert this, and that has not happened. The other thing that a lot of us have been talking about in various fora is the difficulties of convergence, because children in their, for their welfare demand the coordination of many agencies. It's not just health, it's not just food, it's also stimulation, it's also care, gender plays a role, and it's really, how children do is really a net result, and it's a symbol of overall development, as as we understand about, for example, under 5 mortality rates and what that means to us. So there is a there are many different sectors involved, there are many different ministries involved, there are many different agencies involved, and there is a need for coordination, which in our opinion is becoming very difficult, and it doesn't happen unless there is supra-ministerial kind of mechanism which we've been advocating. So that is one also problem that brings this down from 3 to 1.5. Now the indicator 2, this is the Baby Friendly Hospital Initiative, a very important initiative that was taken in the early years in the country, has gone down from 2.5 to 0. Again, it has just skipped attention. The fact that this existed, that there were these 10 steps to getting a BFHI accreditation to an institution, a health institution, which is quite simple to do, considering that we've worked a lot on systems. We worked a lot on health systems through the NRHM and so on. It would have taken not very much for the systems actually doing many of the things that belong to BFHI. They're actually doing many of it, but we have failed to monitor it through the BFHI and to accredit them, and then to say, yes, you're done and you're not done. So we have failed in that last mile of looking at things and making things happen. So this is a major missed opportunity for us. Simply done, could have been done, but just the fact that we didn't attend enough to carry an investment to its furthest possible potential. So it's still there. And in light of the fact also that institutional deliveries have gone up so much. So if babies are being born in institutions, and if they happen to be BFHI accredited institutions, you achieve a lot in early initiation, colostrum feeding, not having pre-lacteals and so much. So it's again something that's low-hanging fruit. It could have easily been done. Now indicator 3 has done well. We are almost at a perfect score here, 8 to 9.5. You know that India has been very progressive in some of its legislation, and IMS Act has been one of those. I think the problems include that implementation is still weak in terms of systems. So there's a lack of systems. It's sort of still a bit ad hoc, and more can be done on this front. We have adopted 3 out of 4 relevant resolutions. If we adopt the 4th, we are likely to get a perfect score here. So, but violations nonetheless do continue of the commercial kind of interest in IYCF, nutraceuticals and so on. And so there is scope here for improvement that we really need. And also on another front, this comes in another indicator, but I'm placing it here, that in our IYCF training, we have missed the opportunity to include the IMS Act as a component of that training sufficiently, and also we've missed the opportunity of talking about commercial interests and conflict of interest in IYCF. Now indicator 4 has also come down a little bit, 4.5 to 3.5. This is really more to do with the methodology and the tool itself. Changes have happened in the scoring system of the tool, which have focused more on implementation rather than policy, and that is what has really brought down the number from 4.5 to 3.5. Whereas on the other hand, there has been a lot of action on maternity entitlements, which has not yet flown to the field. So we know that maternity benefits, maternity entitlements have been mentioned in the National Food Security Act, for instance. We know also that the score actually can only be done on the existing legislation, which is the Maternity Benefits Act, a very, very outdated act. Even our own guidelines and policies have gone far beyond that act, and that needs to be sorted out, which hasn't yet been done. And it applies only to about 2% of women working in the country so far. So implementation is weak. The existing laws have not been converted into rules and so on, and these are the gaps that exist over here. But yet there is some happy news, we get to hear rumors of happy news, but it's going to be a long while, and I think the campaigns who've been involved, ECCD Alliance, the Right to Food campaign, these are going to need to be pushing much further to make this happen. Health and nutrition care, a sharp increase, 4 to 7, which really to our understanding is a genuine increase, because a lot of what we have been advocating and asking for has been taken on board through the Health Ministry and through its various guidelines, through the training of the community health workers, the ASHA, so on and so forth. If there are still any gaps, and again these are gaps which are easy to rectify, they would be in-service training for all pediatricians. I would mention in particular, and many people whom we consider they would be adequately trained, but they actually are not in IYCF. So we don't have any mechanisms. It's all right to train health workers, but when a health worker has to argue with a doctor, she invariably does not win the argument, and the doctor seems to know better. So we need it for all healthcare providers, and we need it universally. Again, as I said, that there are some gaps on training on IMS. And yes, and this last one is again low-hanging fruit that we do not arrange for. This is part of the tool, it's how you score it. We do not ensure that women and children can room together in our public health facilities. And of course, we don't monitor how it happens in the private system. I have had occasion, I've practiced in very many different scenarios, and babies are dragged away immediately to the nursery, and they are given a bottle even before their mother wakes up from her delivery, and this happens on a regular basis. So ensuring that babies and children can room in is something that the health system can very easily accomplish just by a simple guideline and a little bit of motivation. This has gone up slightly, mother support and community outreach, from 5 to 6. And essentially this has happened through the gains in, as I said, many policies, and many policy frameworks have actually come up that have been helpful to us. ICDS restructuring, the National Policy for Children, the National Policy on Early Childhood Care and Education, and the continuing progress under the NRHM, especially for antenatal and delivery-related services. So this is something that's happening, but there are critical gaps still, and they really are to do with the lack of childcare services on the ground to support women to undertake their jobs of breastfeeding, and to support families for IYCF. It's not just the mother's job to do IYCF, so support families for IYCF and support mothers for exclusive breastfeeding, which will require some effort towards enabling childcare. And this big gap of skilled counseling for IYCF is not just an information gap. In fact, now our work on the ground clearly tells us that this information gap hardly exists. I have, even in very recent times, worked in the deepest tribal areas where all women will very automatically tell you, 6 mahine pe khana khilana hota hai, 6 mahine tak khali maa ka doodh pilana hota hai. There are very serious bottlenecks to making that happen though. And there are also skill issues, my milk is not coming, so on and so forth. So there are skill issues and there are support issues which are going to block even work forward on IYCF, but it has gone up a little bit and we welcome that. Information support has remained from 6 to 6. We do have an IIC work, but we don't have an IEC policy. This is the way the tool goes. It requires a policy, because a policy then sets out budgets, budget lines, and again becomes something that's a regular thing rather than a little bit arbitrary. And I've said this before, that the commercial influence aspect of it does not come in the IIC. Just now, our IEC does not talk about the dangers of bottle feeding, for example, and bottle feeding is still very common. So these are again low-hanging fruit, easy to do, because we are doing a lot of successful IEC. We are seeing breastfeeding and IYCF messages very regularly on the media, and this could easily be included without too much effort. Infant feeding and HIV has done well again, probably as a result of NACO and the Health Ministry. But here, there are some very specific areas that are problematic. One is the supply side problems in ARV, and we've been hearing recent news about lack of budgets for this. This is very, very, I think, dangerous and very scary, and the country really needs to take it quite seriously. And of course, again, skilled counseling to ensure that mixed feeding doesn't happen. We understand the guidelines that women are to be given a choice, but the worst case scenario is not either complete bottle feeding or complete breastfeeding, it is mixed feeding. And in our country, we know that mixed feeding is going to happen, so probably we need to discuss and debate much more that the message really, in most circumstances, apart from well-to-do middle class women making the choice towards just simply exclusively bottle feeding, rather not bottle feeding but formula feeding, I should not say bottle feeding at all, in no case bottle feeding, formula feeding, would be exclusive breastfeeding. So this kind of a discussion, I think, and this kind of training for offering that kind of an informed choice to women is still problematic, is the opinion of the people who worked on this indicator. I was saying during emergencies, I mean a shallow 0 to 0. Here what we feel is that, we require the ministries of WCD and health to play a stewardship role, because eventually this is going to happen through the NDMA. We know that there are guidelines in the health ministry already on this. They're not really guidelines, actually. It's a few paras in the IYCF guidelines and WCD guidelines. It needs to be detailed, thrashed out, again discussed, debated in a participatory way, detailed, thrashed out, and then to be communicated to the NDMA to take it forward. And again, this is not very difficult for us to do, so this is also low-hanging fruit. 10 is, to me as a public health person, this is really something that we should attend to. We've gone down from 7 to 5 because our largest and most important program for children under 6 remains the ICDS. We don't have programmatic data that we can look at on IYCF from the ICDS. That's really quite sad because we're dealing with millions of children, and we have access and we have the potential to look at millions of children. And if we're dealing with it only in an administrative format, then we're really missing an opportunity to track our program. So the MIS for the ICDS really needs a relook. We do have 2 indicators relevant to our IYCF in the HMIS, the Health Ministry's MIS, and that's welcome. But the rest of it can't be done by the Health Ministry because it is work on the ground. So the ICDS has this enormous opportunity to track, to monitor, to set things right. And really the MIS and training on the MIS would need to be done for that. Now, indicators 11 to 15 all in one slide together, because things have remained more or less the same, except as Arunji pointed out, the RSOC data tells us that exclusive breastfeeding has gone, the score has gone up from 6 to 9. I place a question mark on that because, we have been raising methodological issues on how we collect this data. If you're talking about the last 24 hours and then extrapolating that to exclusive breastfeeding, this is to the experts sitting in the house who deal with the data formats and research per se, that perhaps we need to rethink how we look at exclusive breastfeeding, how we count it. But the rest has remained more or less the same. We always knew that we were a country that breastfeeds and breastfeeds, and so the score remains from 10 to 10. Complementary feeding is at 3, and that is one of our biggest problems at this moment of time. Now, South Asia, if you look at it, look at the potential India has. We think of ourselves as a country that can really do anything it sets its mind to. But how have we done as compared to our neighbors who are equally poor, who have the same kinds of challenges, and we're really at the bottom. So I would like to pause and let you look at this slide just for a minute, that we're really at the bottom for something that there could be no too much debate on. Who could debate that all these things we're talking about in favor of children, are not required, or that we should be doing this as a country? Who could say that this is beyond our reach or beyond our capacity? Could any one of us sitting here say that? And yet we are really at the bottom of the heap. Other people, Afghanistan and Bangladesh and Bhutan and actually everybody, Pakistan, everybody has done better than us. So surely we can change that. So what are our conclusions? That we find that we are lagging behind all our neighbors. We also find, I've been saying that as I went along, that scores can pretty easily be pushed up. Some scores, not all scores, but some scores can be pushed up pretty easily, which we are calling the low-hanging fruit. Better coordination through an effective full-time supra-ministerial body perhaps, conversion of IYCF guidelines to national policy, reviving the baby-friendly hospital initiative, including IMS Act in pre- and in-service training, doing IAC on the dangers of bottle feeding and commercial interests, creating guidelines for IYCF in disaster situations. These are all easily doable without any major investments of either human resource or money for that matter. But there are very many major investments required in maternity entitlements, in childcare as an issue which needs our social investment, without which we really will not be able to move very far forward. And we need to at least set a roadmap for these. We need to achieve the rest very quickly, immediately perhaps, and we need to set a timelined, budgeted roadmap for these so that we can see the road ahead at least. So moving forward, I think we all recognize that it's something that's doable, something we can do, something we should do, but we are still not getting around to it. And that requires consensus, concerted action, political will, change in the pathways, because really the scores 1 to 10 are the pathways to achieve the outcomes which are, being talked about in 10 to 15, sorry, that should read 10 to 15, not 15 to 20. And finally, the impact on, on malnutrition, on child mortality, and also I think on women's well-being, so that is what we're talking about. Just one brief word on consensus. I mean, one would think that, as I've been saying, that there's no lack of consensus on IYCF per se, no. But when it comes to prioritization, because what we're talking about are basic building blocks. These are not dramatic things, these are basic building blocks. But when it comes to prioritization, often we find ourselves engaged in illusions of shortcuts and kind of measures that seem to us will carry us very quickly, very forward, and we sort of get sidetracked from these basic building blocks. Now, regardless of that, I think that we have to recognize that these are basics, these are basic rights, and we have to move forward on this front, and that we need to put our money here. We need to put our money here because this is really what's going to move us forward. So these are just some images from some of the work that we have been doing on, it's called Action Against Malnutrition. We've been running some creches, we've been working with women, and showing some really beautiful results. It's difficult, challenging, but very worthwhile. And I just thank you and the panelists in advance for everything that you're going to say, more importantly for everything that you're going to do in the coming 2 or 3 years, so that the next time that we meet on a WBTI 5, we should be really heading the pack rather than so far behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vandana. I would like to welcome Ma'am Nutan Guha Biswas, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Women and Child Development and Chairperson NCPCR. Thank you, ma'am, for coming. And now may I invite ma'am to the dais for the release of the report. And I would also like to request Dr. Ajay Kheda, Deputy Commissioner, Child Health and Immunization, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Deepika Srivastava, OSD Niti Aayog, Ms. Sabha Mebratu, Chief Child Development and Nutrition, UNICEF, Dr. Rachita Gupta, Nutrition Focal Point, WHO, and Dr. Onkar Sharma. He's here in his individual capacity and has a long background in understanding of labor laws and policies. Dr. Vandana Prasad and Dr. Arun Gupta.